All right, happy Monday. I'm so excited for tonight's call because tonight is Callie. Callie is going to be sharing because she has already earned her prize for this month. She is just like on a roll. And I feel like if you like follow her, not only is she like super inspirational, she's been through like some things with her dad and she's busy and I find her workouts super inspiring. Does anybody else find her workouts like super duper inspiring? I'm like, one, I wish I could be like that. And then two, we have this love of Goldens together. So like I'm all for that because I've got one snuggled up with me right now and the other one's over there with Kennedy like snoring. I'm surprised you do not hear her. So, um I'm just super excited. And so she is going to go through some things that she has like overcame in this journey and how she's earned her prize. And so I want you guys to not only just be inspired, but to like really just be an open mind when you're listening, because sometimes it's easy to think, oh, well, like that's easy for her. Like she doesn't have kids, or that's easy for her. Like that's not my job, or, or whatever, like the thoughts that we all have. So, just be open minded when you're listening to her story of how it could, like, how could you apply the lessons that she's learned to your business and your life and your mindset. And then at the end, if you have any questions, we'll open it up and you guys can ask her some questions. So I'm just going to go ahead since it is already 8:48 and I'm going to pass it on to Callie. So take it away, girl.
Hey, ladies. I am like the definition of a hot mess. I did not prep for this. I just pulled in my driveway from the hospital. So whatever comes out of my mouth is coming from the heart tonight. But I am super excited. This is something that I don't know. I'm very passionate about in like growing my business and using my story and my platform. So any chance I get to talk about it, I'm here for it. I am going to kind of like flip back and forth to these questions that Andrea guided me with. But so a little bit about me, because I know we've got some new faces in here. I was diagnosed with lupus when I was 17. I ended up having to decommit from University of Cincinnati for soccer, just for like health issues and not really knowing what was going on with my body at the time. But leading up to that, I played soccer my whole life. I did end up playing in college, Division I athlete, have dabbled in professional athlete and professional soccer and all the things. So I definitely never really thought that my health was an issue, outside of, napping 4 hours every day, losing my hair, pooping once a week. I was just like, oh, must just be my lupus. Like, this is just the way lupus is. So fun fact, I went kind of had a full circle moment and went to nursing school at University of Cincinnati. Kind of just like it was the nursing school that I chose, since I couldn't go there for soccer. And that's where I met Miss Annie. And she was one of my coworkers as a baby nurse. So bless you. But she is the one who introduced me to Plexus. And I don't even remember what I like. I think I just really needed to poop, honestly. And she talked about it a lot, and I was like, okay, yeah, send me what you got. But anyone who works in healthcare on this team and teachers on this team, we all know we're underpaid, and moms underpaid. So it was something that I was like, dang, I am travel nursing out in California right now. I have a little extra money to spend, and I had an opportunity to try it out, but knew like cannot afford this in the budget. So I was like, I have no choice but to share. So here we go. Ended up just feeling so empowered when I just shared a little bit of my story. Um, and I think that I've always had like a little like act. to use my story, but have never really had a platform for it. So I think that's been honestly one of the biggest things that has kept me going is like, wow, I am inspiring people. I do have random people with lupus and positive ANAs reaching out to me. Have no idea what's going on with you, but I will help you as best I can. So that's a little bit of my background. One of my biggest hurdles and biggest mindset shifts that I have had to do. I went when I got started, kind of hit the ground running. I think I'm just like a go-getter. I'm like, I don't really take no for an answer and like to do everything on my own. So I went fast start silver, fast start senior silver, fast start gold in like 3 months. And we came to a pretty big halt after that. So we are coming up on 16 months ranking gold. Haven't dropped below, haven't gone above. And it's so defeating, right? Like, we can fly through these ranks and feel so empowered and then be like, oh, wait, maybe I'm actually not a great leader because I can't even get close to senior gold. I'm not duplicating, I'm not doing this. And it is so easy to go in the biggest spiral, negative spiral. So I have worked closely with a couple of these girls and been like, where is this roadblock for me? And the biggest shift for me was flipping the script of I'm not a good leader and I'm not hitting senior gold to dang, I've maintained gold for 16 months, haven't dropped below it. Like that in itself speaks to just, the consistency of, um, keeping my customers happy and customer check-ins and like people do trust me. They are still ordering, right? So this year it was, oh, and I did all of that on my own. All of my two business builders were one is back drinking Alani News and trying to be a TikTok influencer making money fast. And the other one didn't hit fast start silver and is gone. So this was like all on my own and it's exhausting. It is absolutely exhausting. So this year, I was like, I'm building a team. I want two strong legs by the end of the year. And that has been my goal. And one of the things that I did this year is invest in some coaching, not like one on one, but I did invest in an Emily Gibson course just to help structure more of like a business forward mind for me because talking about the business is uncomfortable for me. How can I just listen to things day in and day out and make it more of like a normal thing between my ears? So that's something that I've incorporated. I work, 3 jobs between here and 2 nursing jobs. So it is very difficult for me to set aside time and still work out and do all the things. So one thing that has worked for me is like my commute is a non-negotiable. If I'm in the car, I'm listening to Emily Gibson, I'm listening to Bob Heilig, I'm listening to network marketer leaders who are putting new information in my ears and, helping me flex a new muscle. So with that, all of my conversations this year have all been business. And I got a little called out in our group chat today about just being a little spicy in my messages. But you know what? Spice will get you a far way, guys. I'm telling you. I am in such a like business forward mindset right now. And the business builder that I have this month, who is Fast Start Silver, who is earning her iPad this month, sent me. I have asked her about the business before. She stopped products because she couldn't afford them. And I asked her, or no, she texted me out of the blue and was like, hey, girl, do you know like of any jobs that could give me like a passive income? Thinking like personal assistant or something. And I was like, I don't know why you think I would know about a personal assistant job, but I can tell you I know about passive income job. And I was like, you already know what I'm going to say. And she said, anything but Plexus. And I said, well, I'm going to voice message you then. And I sent her like a 5-minute voice message. She is trying to go play professionally abroad. So wants a source of like passive income while she's out there. So I kind of just re-broke down the structure for her of what this looks like. Um, it's March Madness this month. The incentives are huge. You're in a network that you can be very successful in, and just kind of recasted the vision. I'm very, very firm believer. I don't want the two business builders that dropped out in the first month on my team. I don't. And that's something that I've had to shift my mindset on of like, if I lose someone, it's not my business builder. It's not my person. So TJ, I don't even know if she's on the call tonight, but oh no, she got jury duty. She is, hitting the ground running. It makes me a little anxious because I'm like, you're kind of like me and just like a go-getter and putting me in 7 messages in a day. And I'm like, let's slow it down a little bit. But she's crushing it. But this is new for me. And it's someone that I want. I want the energy. I want the go-getter attitude. And she just wasn't in a place to hear it last year. So that's one of my words of advice, is to just know that if you feel like a failure of a leader for someone that drops off after they, go senior silver, gold, even, like, it is not you. They are just not in a place to be you. So that is something. What else am I doing? Um, so I would say that my conversation with TJ was probably my biggest bold action this month, of recasting vision and just revisiting the topic and not just being like, oh, haha, I know. Yeah, no, I don't know any personal assistants. Sorry. And just like continuing to, oh gosh, sorry, I'm seeing all of these messages right now and I'm too ADD for this. Yes, I can share the cruise reignited my vision. And what I did on the cruise was sent 6 messages to people that I had kind of been talking to about the business only for a long time. Sent a picture of, the cruise, the ship, the sun, whatever, me, and said, like, Jordan, just wishing you were here on this trip with me. Can't wait to have you on the next one. What's holding you back? You got to add a lot of emojis in there to make it fun. But that was something that I was like very bold in. And they were all like, oh, it looks like you're having so much fun. And you can leave the conversation there, or you can say, what's holding you back? And just continue to press. And it's not weird, it's not slimy, it's not pushy. And that is what has been getting me answers. That is what's been getting me conversation, is like, I'm not backing you into a corner, but I'm gonna ask you again. you know so I think I have just kind of hit a corner of, there has to be an element of discomfort, I think, on both ends, of, if I'm going to get out what information I need from you, no one is comfortable saying, oh, it looks so fun, but XYZ. And so it's being vulnerable and being the bold one to say, like, hey, I'm asking you again because I care. And I'm asking you again because I can help you overcome this roadblock, whatever it is. And I have gotten some, like, this looks so awesome. I just don't think I can do it. And it opens up a conversation of why. Why do you think you can't do it? Et cetera. Um, so I would say that is kind of like, again, one of my biggest tips for duplication, is just being very forward about the business. And then with TJ specifically, one thing that, I could go back and say, I wish I did this with Marissa and Carla, and go backwards, but I don't want to go backwards. I just want to move forward with who I have right now. And since I'm in a business forward mindset, I have been kind of setting the standard for TJ of like what it looks like when you sign someone up. So all 3 of her people we've signed up so far have been asked to post and asked, who's your plus one? She has gotten 2 shout out posts. And then, everyone's kind of said, like, oh, like, my daughters or my brother, whoever. So that is just setting the standard now in TJ's mind. When she signs someone up, she knows I'm going to ask them who they're getting and who, in for a post. So that's one thing I've just been very proud of like, if I'm duplicating, you're duplicating. Um, and then there was something else I was going to say about that. Um, I can't remember, but um, two messages that I've been sending that have been very effective for me. I typed them out. This was the one thing I prepped. um, the so I have a new business reach out that's been working, and then I did a new product reach out. But my business reach out, I said, "Hey friend, I saw you're a nurse at CHOA," or you could say, "I know you're a teacher at, wherever. And after seeing your profile, I had to reach out. Been following you for a little bit now, and your passion for serving others and joy for life are contagious. I know how hard it can be to serve others at the bedside and not see the financial profit for the work that we do. Have you ever considered an additional stream of income? Lucky for you, I'm looking for you, add an emoji, to come alongside me as a nurse and serve others on a different platform. I've found great financial flexibility in my life from what I do. Does any of this relate to you?" And then new product reach out. I said, "Hey friend, I'm sure you've seen that I'm an avid lover of all things gut health, energy, and hormone support." Emoji. "I know I'm not the only one who struggles with this, and to a fellow healthcare worker, I know you do too. I've found the key to not feeling hungover on my off days at the hospital. I'd love to share the cure with you. Can you relate, or does this interest you at all?" So again, I feel like one of the things I've just been focusing on, whether it's healthcare, I can say like, "I know you're a mom, even though I'm not a mom. My sister struggles with this as a mom of a 2-year-old." And there's just different ways to frame it to fit the situation. Um, I have been trying this year. I've always kind of struggled with like filling my funnel. I still don't even know if I really know what it means, but I try. And one of the things that I've really resorted back to is going back through my back office. And since I now have a kind of different mindset, is going back to them and representing the opportunity. It's worked so far for two people, two out of what, 30, but hey, it's two people. So just not giving up on the people that you have served in the past, because they did trust you at one point um, in your business. And just like TJ, it just maybe wasn't their time a year ago, but it could be their time this year. My gosh, what else? I don't even know. I think that's kind of like all I have. Do y'all have questions? Um, Trying to look in here, but anyone have anything?
Let's say if you guys have questions, you guys can drop it in the chat or you can even unmute and just ask her like anything specific. What I am catching on is this was just a total mindset shift, right?
Mhm.
You're picking up on her mind, the shift, but the boldness that she has caught on to. Like she's not like, oh, well, like if this is like a good time, like she's like, this is what we have to offer. This is how we're going to do it. And it's
Oh,
it's for you or not.
ding, ding. You remind me of what I was going to say. This has been the key this month. It's worked for all three of my people. It's worked for all of three of TJ's people. Um, One thing that I took from my coaching courses is not really giving, I'm never sharing a card again, ever, 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 ever. And I know we all say that, but like it is never happening again. So if I can't get someone on the phone, I had 2 of 3 on the phone sign up with me. That is huge for me. But the alternative, if they say, "Can't get on the phone, don't have time for that," I say, "Okay, great. Well, I sent you your recommendations. I know this looks good to you. I'm gonna go ahead and process your order. Here's the info I need. And are we putting, raspberry, watermelon, sweet tea, or black cherry, lime in your cart?" And then you're sending like a little, I know Andrea's talked about this before. It's not like making it into a cute graphic, but it's like the name, address, credit card, CVV, all of that, and you just put it there. And 9 times out of 10, they're going to say they're going to send you the information, like hands down. I had one girl just text me a picture of her card. I had another one send it out, and I had a third one say, "Do you mind if I call you with that information?" I said, "Sure, sounds good." But again, it's not, "Can I put a cart together for you? Is now a good time? Can I send you over a cart? Can you hop on the phone?" It's, "Oh, okay, sounds like this is what is going to be what you want. I'm going to get your cart together. Here's the info I need." And it's just being very forward and saying, like, "What flavors do you want?" So that was one other tidbit I wanted to add in there that's been working for me.
I 100% agree, but I'm also an Emily Gibson like follower, and I've done all of her trainings. I was also in Beyond the Rank and like all the things. And I am also the same way. I don't do share cart. I never have. I don't let anyone out of my car, right? Like we have those road maps and I have them saved that I can resend, but she goes through all the objections, how to close the deal without letting them out of the car. And I'm telling, if you share a cart, you're sending a link and you could be waiting 2 weeks before they finally have time to
Mm-hmm.
check out. Right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you never know. And then you're like, oh hey, is the cart working? Oh hey, did you get the link? Oh hey. And it's like you're leaving something up to them. And I've always said, like, we think about Plexus 24/7, they don't. Right. So
Yeah.
it's something that's in the back of their mind, but they're not always checking that. So I'm always doing the same thing. If I'm at work or they're at work, I do it that way. I have the welcome email I send, and then when they get their products, that's when I hop on the phone with them. That's what I have found
Mm-hmm.
works the best. I know it's not like immediate, but usually that's like we go over everything, and that's when like they are truly excited because they've just opened it in the mail. And so I don't lose contact with them. I'm sure you're the same way. Like as soon as they order, if I do it like that, it's still constant like communication. Like we're texting back and forth. I'm checking the tracking for them, all those things. We're still talking about making a post and,
Mm-hmm.
who they're going to share with. So, does anybody else have any other like questions or anything?
I was just gonna say, sorry, I'm kind of losing my voice, but like I think Callie, you've said this too, and I know we talk about this a lot, but even just like a couple weeks ago during our call, but just like I feel like Callie, you've been doing a lot more voice messages versus just like text messages, which those are effective, but just like them hearing your voice, hearing your excitement, being excited for them, it just really changes the mood and like, you know, gets them excited about sharing, about getting started and all those things. So
Yeah.
um, I just feel like that's something that you've been doing. I mean, not that you weren't before, but I feel like you've been doing a lot more personal like voice messages
I
lately
think
too.
it's pretty rare that I send a text, in all honesty. They'll text, but I'm like voicing back everything for sure.
I have a question for you. Um, can you hear me okay?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So sometimes I feel like personally, I'll get into like this rut of like, oh my gosh, I don't have anybody else to message, or oh, I've messaged everybody that I can. When you get to that point, or if you ever get into that mindset, like how do you shift that and like get out of that, or find those people that are there to message? Because there are always going to be people to message.
Yeah, I feel that. And I think that's kind of what I was touching on about like filling my funnel and like finding new people. I joined a new like lupus support page. I think finding some sort of group that you can add is good. And then I Girl, I have dove back into the archives of Facebook and been like, oh, I have 40 mutual friends. Do I know this person? You know, and had
Right.
just started engaging with them a good bit, just to kind of like have myself populate. And the second I see something that I can capitalize on, whether it's like a health thing or even just like, girl, I love your dress. Where'd you get it? Because I do need to new places to shop, but it does like open up a conversation. So I think there's no shame in like adding someone that you have a ton of mutual friends with, or you're like, oh, I went to high school with you. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to jump right into Plexus. And I think like starting out, and even to this day, I'm like, "Ugh, okay, is it a good time to like reach out to them?
Right.
I I feel like sometimes I was very cringy when I first started. And so it's kind of hard to like backtrack from that. But I just have been engaging more and like waiting for the bait as opposed to just like sending out tons of reach outs. I think
Right.
just
So
being a
just
little bit more personal and like building a relationship.
right. Engaging with things that aren't Plexus so that way when you do have an opportunity, it's more like a, hey, like, what do you think about this? Versus like you said, it's like clickbait, like, oh, hey, hey, hey. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
I know something that I like to do too, Sunny, is make sure that I don't know if you do this or not, but like check who's viewing my stories.
Hmm.
And I always write those down. And those are the people that I will try and engage more with because that means they're going to end up seeing my stuff more. And I think the way that the algorithm kind of works is when you're conversating back and forth with people, that's who's going to show up on your feed. And then that's the same way for them. And so I think that the more that you talk back and forth with people on their stories as well, then that's going to start showing you
Mhm.
like more people to like talk to as well. But I'm the same way. Like when it pops up, the friends you may know, I'm like, oh, yep, ad. Oh, you look pretty, ad. Yep, yep, like you. Oh, your son plays baseball, ad. It's just like there's connections everywhere. And
Mhm.
so
Right.
like when you see people like that, like who have kids in baseball or are a nurse or a teacher or whatever, like I will just start adding people,
You
truly.
will find something
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
to
Yeah, I
capitalize
need to
on.
get better about like engaging with the people who are engaging, not just engaging with my story, but viewing it. Because sometimes I feel like if I don't get that engagement that I'm looking for, or like nobody's sliding my bar or whatever, I just kind of like write it off. And I need to be better about like being like, hey, thanks for showing my story some love, or hey, saw that you viewed my story. Is there anything that piqued your interest? Like, or any like something like that if I'm going to reach out, or just like making note of who's viewing them
I also think
to
like
be engaging with them more. Sorry, just so they come back. Like so they're still seeing my stuff.
yeah, I definitely think there's areas where I have kind of taken the pressure off myself and been more myself, instead of like, hey, does anything pique your interest? Which I have sent a million times. I'm like, girl, I see you making
Mhm.
it to the end of all these stories. Like, what's holding you back? And just coming at it from just like
Right.
such a casual approach of like, girl, you're always looking at my stories. You interested? You know, and just like being lighthearted about
Right.
it. And it does not have to be cringy and it does not have to be weird. And just be like, what's up? You want to try it? I'm also
Yeah.
very big on samples.
Honestly,
I'm very big on samples too. And I think like
mhm.
um they all needed me to come mix it up for them. But two of my three this month were samplers that I sent the previous month. And then I have
Okay.
potentially three more samplers that are going to sign up. So that's something that I know not everyone is big on, but I definitely like whip that out when I feel like things aren't really moving in my
Yeah.
business.
I this might be a good tip for everybody because I've started to do this for myself is I'll catch myself doom scrolling and I feel like everybody does that. And I kind of talked about this on our last meeting because I kind of like stole Andrea at the end and I'm like, I need the fire lit under my butt, please. To get me through like this next couple. If there was a name that I saw that I was like, oh, I'm gonna write them down. I just started making a list. And as I had them on my list, like if I am like I need to send some messages, I look at that list for empty, and that's kind of helped me also keep out of my rut.
Yeah, I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I like that too. So I think honestly, like even with stories, I saw Morgan say that she struggled with reach outs from stories. Then don't make it about Plexus.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, just because you're posting Plexus stuff doesn't mean that you're, well, and my husband's getting ready to start bedtime. So if you hear screaming, it's just the witching bedtime that's about to happen. So um it's like just talk normal life, like my stories today. I think the only thing I posted Plexus was like a mixed up drink, and the rest of it was like my workouts and stuff. So
Yeah.
there's things that, and like you said, most of those people have watched all of them. So then you can make it about something else. And honestly, Sunny, I don't think I really ever have anybody vote or slide or do any of those on an
No.
Instagram thing. Like I just don't think that that really happens. So I just go with it, like I don't ever say like, oh, that was like, oh, that was a bust or whatever. Just look at who continually
Hmm.
is watching
Yeah. Just pay
story.
attention.
Yeah. And they're not going to like your posts. They're not going to comment on your posts. Like I tell people that all the time. Like they're just not. Like when we watch things, like we comment and we do that stuff because we're network marketers. Like that's what we do. It's our business, right? But other people, my husband who's over here just scrolling his phone, like he ain't liking nothing, but he's just creeping, right? So it's just like that's what people do. Something is going to catch their attention, and if you're engaging with them and their posts and you're commenting about their kids and their clothes and whatever, I think that's when like a true like connection can be built. And then it's, yes, I will tuck you in just a minute. And so it's like you get like, oh, I like your dress. Oh, your son plays baseball. And then it's like, oh, hey, like I'm coming to the field Saturday. Like, do you want me to bring you like a pink drink or whatever? I think the best advice I was ever given, and I think about this like while I'm writing out messages all the time, is like act like you're talking to that person face to face. You know, like when I see people, I'm like, hey, mama, hey, friend, like that's normal for me. So
Yeah.
that's what I say. So it's like, make it like as you were talking to that person face to face. Like imagine that person standing in front of you, and what would you say? Like Callie's gonna be like, what's holding you back? Like you've been watching my stuff. Like what's happening? Like, if that's not your personality, then don't say that, right?
I'll
But
do
like if
it.
that's yeah, don't do that. You're not like Callie. Like don't be somebody that you're not. People can read that a mile away. So, but just be real to you. But I think the biggest thing here is just like quit like quit tiptoeing around.
Yeah. It doesn't have to even be anything like you have to start a conversation. Go through to five people you have reached out to and they haven't reached out back, or you've never reached out to, and just be like, girl, it is so good to see your face on here. How are you doing? And just something like simple, is just, yeah, back to just like the basics of, because this is what we do. It is, we do want them to buy products, of course, but it's also like the business of just like relationships and relationship building. And people are not going to buy from you if they don't trust you or have any sort of relationship with you. So, it does take time to kind of build those relationships, which can be frustrating when we just want to like fly, fly, fly. But the people that you build relationships with are the ones who are going to be buying you for a year.
100%. I agree. I do like the ABC challenge too. A lot of times I will just go on the active list and see who's active, or just go through like the alphabet, like when you go to your friends. Um, but I think like I say when Stella got her groove back, it was when I realized that I was like just like walking around like in this like balled up shell. And if you really know me, that has never been me. Something put me like whatever it was, closed me up for whatever reason. And I realized that I was walking around like tiptoeing. Like I was like, you know what? No, like I have the Plexus emblem on my dang car. Like people know who I am. I do not care that Lauren from high school doesn't like that I do the pink drink. Like Lauren doesn't pay my bills, right? That's why do I care? And so I think getting back to that like mindset of like if they're on the sidelines and they're not on the field or the in the arena, whatever that quote is with me, or they're not like walking a mile in my shoes, then why do they have an opinion on anything that's going on in your life, in your business, and how you run your life? Right. So that's when like Stella cut her hair and pierced her nose, and like we're just doing all the things now. So it's like just be you and quit worrying about what everybody has to say and worrying like if they're screenshotting your post. I hope to God they're screenshotting my posts and talking about me, you know? Like, please. Like, I love that now.
Yeah. Sunny, I'll tell you, I made a vow to myself never to talk or do any reach out to anyone at my hospital. And just because I did not want to mix the two. And to this day, I still have not reached out to a single coworker of mine. But in the past, I'll say probably past like 5 months, I have 12 coworkers that have reached out to me. Hey, can I talk to you for a sec? Oh, I want to start Plexus. And it's this like hushed thing. And I'm like, girl, yes. Bring them, a stick of active, or I'm mixing something up. And they're like, oh, is that your Plexus stuff? Yeah, here, girl, take one. And, then word gets around. So it's just like, even if there's an area where you are afraid to speak, you have to just live in your confidence, mix up your drink in public, and people will wonder and ask.
I love that, like having that connection come to you.
Hmm.
And I also feel like I need to add that statement to my vision board, live in your confidence, because if that's not like the most empowering statement that I've ever heard or said,
Oh.
like that goes right next to what Allie said when I first started and I was like getting discouraged about not getting any responses. She said, Sunny, it's not a no until they know. And every time I like, I literally repeat that to myself daily. I'm like, oh, about anything. So
TJ said no about the business until she knew more from my voice message. It
exactly. And I
is,
just, that is, and then being in your confidence, living in your confidence to be able to deliver that in a way that is going, just for her, because the way you tell her about it is probably going to be different than how you speak to somebody else about it. So, like, that is just so powerful. And I love that so
of
much. So, thank you for that.
course. I'm glad something stuck to someone. Anything else, friends? Thanks for letting me ramble tonight.
I think it's been great and I've loved the conversation. I love that Sunny unmuted and asked and talked. I think that's when you really learn more. You like when you become an active participant and you like are in it with somebody, like that's when you really learn. So,
Yeah.
And I wanted to add to just like you guys were talking about like filling your funnels. What I've done like probably the last like 6 months is obviously like I'm a military wife and my husband is a pilot in the army. So like I literally went on Facebook and I typed in military spouses in the search and you would be so surprised how many groups there are. So I was just like add myself, add myself, add myself. And then I would go to, okay, let's try pilot's wife, add myself, add myself, add myself. And then like, I just go through and like find people that are like me. And I've been like engaging in more of them than, and even like I did like a postpartum group. So I know a lot of people here like just had babies within the last few years or whatever, or like toddler mom group. Like literally you could search anything. And I've just found like trying to fill my funnel that way as well um, has really helped and just like started a lot of new conversations too. So if you guys are feeling stuck, literally just like type anything in the search bar in the groups and see what pops up.
Pediatric nurse. I'll get thousands.
Yes. Add me, add me, add me. Just do a few and see what happens. I swear.
yeah, I think this has been great and I think it's been a good conversation. And so I hope that you all have taken away something from it. And so what I always like to do is like before you go to bed, like reflect on actually what was said and shared tonight and be ready to apply something. Don't just take this in. I was one of those people that really took in like way too much and then it really can stall you and then you get into like this inactivity because all you're doing is learning. So take what you have learned tonight or a shift that you're going to make in your business, and I would really apply it within the next 24 hours. So by 9 o'clock tomorrow, something that you have learned, apply it and do something with it. Like, make it happen, whether that is something with your confidence or being bold in a message or joining a group or connecting more or whatever you had to do. Put your face in your stories if you're scared to do that or whatever it is. Go do something scary tomorrow and then go tell us about it in the chat. All right, girls. I will
Yay.
see you all later. Thank you, Callie. It was
You're
fun.
welcome. Thanks, guys.
Bye,
Happy St.
girl.
Patrick's Day.